mic check, making sure we're good. Sounds fine to me.
One more sound check before we get going here.
I think I'm sounding just fine, so I'm going to stick with this for the time being. And I think we'll be all right. Good evening and welcome to the Kaplan Center for tonight's women's volleyball match. It's senior night and the college and Old Westbury Panthers are in town to play your Mount St. Mary College Knights for a Skyline Conference clash. My name is Bob Houck and I'll be on the call on my lonesome for this Wednesday evening volleyball action. The Old West Panthers hold the last playoff spot as it stands, so the Knights will come into tonight trying to catch them. The Panthers had 1-1 in conference play, the Knights 1-2. Mount St. Mary following a tragic reverse sweep upset over the weekend against St. Joe's Long Island, a unbelievable slugfest that, once the dust settled, ended in Long Island jumping to the top of the standings and the Mount trickling their way towards the bottom. So we will be highlighting lots of seniors tonight, but as it stands, only 4 seniors start out of the 6 available slots on the court. So Old West is in green on the far left. Your Knights in white and blue on the right. For Old West overall 3-6, the Knights 4-11 overall. Should be an intriguing one. The Knights 19-1 all time against the Panthers, so not a side they have struggled to beat before. Though tonight more important than most others. Coach Kellum looking sleek as ever in an all-blue getup for tonight, as we will be in for some palpable action. So number 13, Katia Gomez, will be stepping up to the line to get us started. And ladies and gentlemen, it's time to party. Set comes curling in here. Seymour with the set. Williams with a heavy swing. Falls his way back. An awkward free ball gets punched over. Shot is rolled into the nylon. That's going to be a point for the Knights to start the night. Maya Murphy could not quite get it right. Not going to get it over the tape here. That'll send Williams to the line for the service far right of your screen. So 1-0 Knights as we get underway here. Standing just on the college water mic, I think hardly off your screen. She will reappear in just a moment. The left-handed gallop underway. Laser beam into the back line there. A high arcing set, a long swing, a free ball for the Knights. Scala down Broadway, taps it into the donut. That's going to be a point. Scala, the leading hitting percentage haver in the conference. She leads the conference in attacking percentage. Tied first for total blocks. Came off of a monstrous 7-block performance against Long Island, where the Knights did fall 3-2 final. Laser beam is had into the back here. Trickled around by Old West. A free ball pushed over. See what they do with this. Heavy swing by Simone gets pushed straight back into the Knights half. Ball is pushed over by Seymour and will reset. Heavy swing by Stephanie Mazer, and that's going to give the Westbury Panthers a point. 2-1. Mount Mazer will go straight to the line here. Top left of your screen in all green. And pastel pink shoes, though you might not be able to see that. I don't know how quality our camcorders are. Lurking ball into the top. Passed up. Back set to Dylan. Dylan takes a deep swing. Going to fall out of bounds there. 2-2. So not a flying start, but definitely a good start from the Knights. Of course, testing that wall of Westbury early. Westbury, not a lot of blocks this year. Of course, the Knights, a very heavy blocking team this year. Laser beam had in, right out of bounds. Simone had it all the way. That's going to fall off the touchline, so that's going to be a service for Scala. Senior Brooke Lavelle will check in here. Lavelle tagging in with Lima. Lima and Lavelle both a part of the Psi Chi Society. Very intriguing stuff there. A swing straight down Broadway gets dug up by Scala. Heavy swing by Simone. Gets dug up. A huge block. A free ball's going to get pushed over here. See what the Knights do with it. Clean set towards Lavelle right down Broadway. Deflects off the back line. Going to be a kill for Lavelle early on here. 4-2 Knights. So previously mentioning the Psi Chi Honor Society member, Brooke Lavelle, with a monstrous swing right up the middle here. Going to give the Knights a lead. A free ball pushed over. See what the Knights do with this. Dylan pushes one down. Shoves it straight into the court. So that's going to be a kill for Caitlin Dillon early on. 5-2 Knights. The Knights finding their groove here as we're pushing towards the midpoint of the set. A lollipop falls under the tape there. Going to fall on the Knights side. Going to be an error on the service. 5-3 Old West. That'll send Nicole Zanoni. There we go. Zugnoni. There we are. I do have a pronunciation sheet in front of me. Zugnoni to the line for the service. Far left of your screen. Her pastel purple shoes. Deep service pushed in. Passed straight into the roof. Pushed around. A free ball is going to get dropped in here for Westbury. They're going to botch it. It's going to be a point for the Knights, 6-3. Whole lot of folks here in the crowd tonight, very loud. Senior setter Aubriana Boyce is going to check in here for the service. Been hurt most of this year. Did have just a hair over 120 assists last year. 100, just out of bounds there. Second, okay, yeah, so a hair over 120 last year. She has moved in here as a back row setter, so she'll be getting some reps. The usual Vanessa Seymour transfer from Hartwick College, hanging out on the bench for the time being. Amy Sanchez with the service. A looping ball into the back, gets dug up by the Knights, not going to quite get over there. So that'll be a service ace for Sanchez, the senior from Brentwood, New York. Lost a slight bit of track on who was on my sheet there. Had to make sure I was looking at the right person. So 6-5 Knights. Sanchez, left of your screen, will serve once again. A looping one into the back, finds its way. Boyce with the serve, with the set. Simone with a heavy swing. Oh! Just out of bounds there. A monstrous swing, violent swing. Going to tie the game at 6-6. Just a hair off the back line. Linesman was there all the way. So we will resume here. Looping ball far into the back, gets passed up. Boyce with the set. Back row to Williams. Swings. It's fumbled around by Old West. A free ball to come through. We'll see what the Knights do with it. Straight up Broadway. Straight down Broadway. Gets deflected. We'll get reset. Another swing from Simone. Gets put back up. Looping swing from the Panthers. Drop in by Boyce on a genius stomp right into the donut. Old West was not ready for it. Stephanie Velez took a couple heavy swings there off the outside corner. The Knights were fit for it, so that'll send Simone to the line for the service, top right of your screen. Boyce with a genius set there, sold it all the way, dropped it straight into an empty piece of flooring, so that's going to give the Knights calm little lead. A deep service going to fall right out of the back. That's going to tie the game up 7-7. So a tight contest here as we get into the 15th point of the set. That will send Stephanie Velez to the line. A senior outside hitter from North Babylon, New York. Some wiggling fingers from the Old West side, trying to get some good juju going. Passed up by the Knights. A high lurking set. Williams drops one in. Not going to quite get there. And another back, gets down! Warmouth and Lavelle there on the block. A little bit of a celebration for the bench of the Knights. The tallest possible lineup on the front line right now for the Knights. All 5'10" and above. Warmouth, Williams, and Descala. Lima with the service, top right of your screen. A looping ball into the back. A looping set for the Panthers gets dug straight up by the Knights. An awkward ball, it's going to fall straight down. Stephanie Mazer on the swing there. Team's kill leader, Stephanie Mazer. Senior from Syosset, New York. I think that's how you pronounce that one. The libero, Sophia Lopez, at the line to serve in all white, far left of your screen. Some slightly brighter pastel pink shoes. Jump serve gets hammered straight into the nylon. Going to be 9-8 Knights. So an exciting one here early. Dylan and Seymour to check in for the Knights. New setter, new arm to swing. So the senior Vanessa Seymour, just a hair under 190 assists this year. A transfer into the Knights program. Mazer with a roll right over the top. It's awkwardly pushed around. Williams gets a chance. She puts it straight down. Tip over the block. That's going to be a point. 10-8 Knights. So Mazer with another swing. The Mount selling out to make sure they don't let her get going tonight. Line drive into the back. Dug up very nicely. Right up the middle there. Knights get a hand on it. They're going to push it over free ball. Panthers will get to do it again. Far to Mazer. Mazer with a heavy swing. Lehman digs it. That's going to fall out of bounds. So Katia Gomez with two wonderful sets there. Finally gets one to go. Gomez to the line for the service. Maya Murphy checks back in for the Panthers. Sidewinding ball into the back. High looping set for Dillon. Dillon takes a side swipe at it, puts it over. Gomez with the set. Mazer with the tip. Not home. A deep ball pushed in by Seymour. Another one for Mazer. Heavy swing. Deep. Falling in there. Williams has a chance at it. Pushes it straight over. Water falls down. A free ball coming for the Knights. See what they do with it. Well out of bounds. They choose to play it. Dillon with a swing. Rolls it in. Gomez with the set. Mazer with a heavy swing. That's going to fall straight down. They win the rally 10-10, Old West. So inklings of a shootout here as we get into the 21st point of the set. A little bit of a wild one. To be expected of two teams that are circling the bottom of the conference. No shade, of course. Equally matched opponents. Heavy sidewinder in here. Straight up the middle there. Moved around. Mazer with another swing. Seymour gets a tip over. Ball broke the plane, the referee says. Far set for Dillon. Dillon takes a hard swing. Gets dumped straight back down. Gets another chance. Gets dumped straight back down again. Back-to-back blocks on Dillon. Swings. Looks a little low. Gets it punched straight back over. So an extremely tall Stephanie Mazer. 5'11" there on the block. Gomez once again with the service. Deep ball in, gets shanked a little bit. Knights will get a chance at it. Williams takes a heavy swing at it. That one's going to fall straight through. She was playing no games on that one. She got the chance. She took it. She got the kill. She'll have the service far right of your screen, 11-11. Heavy swing straight into the back. That's going to fall down. A monstrous service ace. A little bit of a celebration, and that's going to give the Knights a 12-11 lead. Williams with a sensational swing off the back line there. A line drive that fell straight onto the back touch line. Going to give the point to the Knights. Another heavy one. Gets dug up. Big looping swing from Murphy. That's going to fall straight over the back. That's going to be a point for the Knights. 13-11 as the Knights try and pull away here late in the set. Williams again with the service. We'll calm down just a moment. Another heavy one bounces off the tape. An awkward one for the Panthers. Free ball's going to get pushed over here for the Knights. See what they do with it. Seymour off a clean set. Scala hits one straight through the block. She pushes one down into the angle. That's going to be a point for the Knights. Another kill for the Scala. So the seniors eating really well early here in senior night. Having themselves an absolute party. 14-11 is the scoreline. Senior Williams to serve again. Ball is shanked just a little bit here. We'll get a free ball for the Knights. See what they do with this one. We'll bake a cake from scratch. Seymour with a wide service. Simone gets there. From downtown, Simone's all alone. She hammers one home. 15-11. There's a timeout. The Knights go into a small 60-second break. Up 15-11. I'll be back in just a moment. So play to resume here in just a moment. Got some notifications from the higher-ups that I had to turn down my volume. Sorry to those at home. I get a little excited here in the booth. So we'll resume here. Williams, Jadani Williams has the ball. She'll take the service from the far right of your screen. course, while I have just a little bit of a break here, I understand it's hard to see. Those beige lines you see right around above the NCAA and Mount St. Mary College logos are your touch lines. So a laser beam into the back here. Gomez with the set. Ball gets pushed back over. The Knights get themselves a chance once again. The tip is dropped in by Simone. That's going to be a point for the Knights. Make it 16-11. Another service for Williams on the far side. Heavy one hit in here. That's going to fall down straight into the court. No, a touch service ace. Samora Dance who's breaking out 17-11. The Knights are pulling ahead here. The track race of the first set seems to be in the Knights' favor. Waiting for the ball to be given back to our server. Some attempts here to ice her just a tad bit, though I can't imagine that's going to affect her at all. So we'll resume here. Looping ball into the back. Gomez with the set. Heavy block over the top from the Knights. Deep swing, going to fall straight out of bounds from Mazer, and that's going to be another point for the Knights, 18-11. So the tally gets higher. The Knights looking to be the first ones to touch the 20-point mark. I was thinking about the number 8, and then I mixed it with a 10, so I multiplied it by accident. But of course, the answer here is the 20-point mark. So Sharon Kim checks in for the Panthers. Slight adjustment here. Sidewinding ball, tries to get looped in. Williams hits the nylon. She's having some fun, though. Kellum letting her experiment just a tad bit here, so that'll send Stephanie Mazer to the line for the Panthers. Deep ball punched in here. Passed it up. Simone with a swing, pushes one over. That's going to fall straight out of bounds. That's going to be 19-12 Knights. So just a little bit of a roll shot with some pace, gets itself through, deflects out of bounds into the bleachers. That's going to send Escala to the line. 19-12 Knights. Ava Escala with the service. Deep into the zone, gets deflected down for a service ace. Some more dance moves break out for the blue and white. 20-12 Knights. So the Knights, the first ones to hit the 20-point mark. They're in good shape. Escala moves over a bit, takes another rip. That one's bouncing around. A free ball to come through here, see what the Knights cook up here. A disguised one there from Dylan. She takes a hard parallel swing. That one's going to go straight out of bounds. Vicious nonetheless. So some signals coming out. Something intriguing is going to come here from Seymour and crew. Nicole Zugnani coming for the service. Something straight out of practice from the Broadway fashion gets dug up by the Knights. Heavy swing by Simone gets deflected up. We'll do it again. A back row swing from Mazer gets dug up again by the Knights. An awkward one, a free ball here to come out for nothing. That one's going to fall down. It's going to be 20-14. 20-14 Knights. So Mazer there with a heavy back row swing. Trickles around, does not quite find its way back over. Line drive to the back, gets pushed straight up in the air. Going to give Williams a back row swing. She'll take one. That goes straight into the roof. A wide set out to Velez. She's going to find one. That goes straight off of a pass into the floor. So 20-15 is the score here. I've been informed I found a sweet spot on the knobs, thank God. So here we are. Clean pass for the Knights. They'll get a chance. A perfect dump from Seymour. That one's going to find itself into some flooring. That's going to be 21-15 Knights. Yet another beautifully sold setter dump finds itself home for the Knights. The Old Westbury Panthers selling out hard for the block. Of course, when you have Casey Coppola that lists at 6 foot tall and multiple other 5'11" hitters, that is going to be the case. So service here pushing deep. Knights are going to get themselves a point. Aubriana Boyce on the service ace. Panthers push that one around just a tad bit too much. 22-15 Knights. Boyce with the service, a deep one in. Gets pushed up almost towards me. A free ball to come through. We'll bake a cake from scratch. Place off the set. Simone with a heavy swing straight into the tape. That's going to bounce down. That's going to be an opportunity for Mazer to push in a free ball here. Another one. See what the Knights do here. A middle for Lavelle. She swings straight through the block. She puts one into some empty floor. 23-15 Knights. Senior night with some entertainment. The senior-to-senior connection with Boyce and Lavelle finds itself home for yet another point. One looped in here by Boyce. Gomez with a set and a swing by Coppola. It's going to find itself home. An impressive two-ball ran straight up the middle there, down Broadway. Old West just bought themselves some tickets to a show. So Amy Sanchez checks in. She'll take the service here, replacing Sharon Kim. So 23-16, far left of your screen, green jersey serving the ball. Blue and white ball, that is. So passed up, see what Boyce does with this. A high lurking set to Simone. She takes a heavy swing. That one's going to fall straight out of bounds. One of the most violent hitters I think I've ever seen. Juliana Simone, the sophomore. Unbelievable shoulder on that girl. Probably hit a ball well harder than I could ever imagine. Another service here, pushed in towards the middle position, straight out for a service. A Sanchez with a beautifully placed set. Of course, the Knights trying to hide Wormuth there. Wormuth there, their middle blocker, not really meant to be receiving balls, but Sanchez decided to pick her out. 23-18, the Panthers closing the gap here on score. Another service dropped straight in off the hitter's arms. Simone will get a chance to swing. She'll take one, pass straight up into the air. Gomez gets a chance to set it. Heavy swing straight into the block. Pushed straight back down by Coppola. So she finds herself another kill block. Les with the initial swing got pushed back up by the Knights and then pushed straight back down by Coppola. The 6-foot-tall middle playing no games from Deer Park, New York. What in the world are they feeding them out there? Sanchez with another one. An awkward pass from the Knights. Free ball to be pushed over here. Two-hand touch called on Simone, so that's going to be a point for Old Westbury. 23-20. The gap is closing. So the Knights trying to get themselves out of this rotation. They'll have to see what they can find. Sanchez with another service. A deep side winding ball into Simone. She passes it up. Williams with a heavy swing into the back. That's going to find Mazer's arms. Straight off the glass in the back of the gym. 24-20, set point for the Knights. Simone to the line. Boyce finds her back row hitter there. Williams says, give it to me, I'll take it home. So the Knights trying to ride that momentum into a set one win to try and take a 1-0 lead. So with a good service there, gets pushed around. Going to be a swing. Out of bounds, and it's going to be 25-20 Knights. So a 1-0 set lead for the Knights. They get themselves off and rolling. We'll switch sides here. Mazer with a little bit of a too heavy of a swing into the back row. So the girls will give themselves a break. You won't have to listen to me for just a moment here, and I'll be back for some more action in set two. So a battle in the Berg on this cool October night. The Knights coming out 25-20 victors after the dust settles in set number 1. We'll switch sides here. The green now on your right attacking to the left and vice versa for the white and blue. So Janai Williams and Juliana Simone up top with 4 and 3 kills. Stephanie Mazer and Casey Coppola chasing them with 3 and 2 kills respectively. So the buzzer sounds. We'll get back into some action here as the Knights should start with the ball. We'll wait for some substitutions to be made. And we'll get straight back into high-flying, high-swinging women's volleyball action in the Skyline Conference of New York State in the country of the United States of America. So some substitutions are made immediately for Old Westbury. They sent in their libero, Sofia Lopez, for Casey Coppola. Of course, you never want your middle blocker on the back row. That's Volleyball 101. Of course, your biggest bloke with the heaviest swing down Broadway is never one you want to be having pass balls on the back line. Of course, you just want them up front to do what they do best, and that's blocking swings. So Aubriana Boyce will start with the ball in her bright blue shoes. Allison Kenny checks in for the Knights. Listed as a setter, though she is wearing Libero's shirt tonight, so we'll see how that goes. And it's time to party, set number 2. So a high pass here off rip, a swing from Mazer. Heavy swing, no touch from the Knights. That's going to be a 1-0 lead for the Panthers here early. Some cheers and hootings and ha's from the green side of the court. Katia Gomez stepping up to the service line in her pastel blue shoes. Always impressed by the basketball shoes. Left-handed swing, driven in deep. Boyce with the set. A fake from Warmouth gets pushed back over. A swing straight down Broadway by Zignoni gets pushed down for a point. 2-0 Old Westbury. Gomez back to it again. Pushes in a left-handed swing, gets passed up. Boyce on the set. Get pushed over, gets called for a two-hand touch on Williams. Alternated just a little bit too much on that set over the net, so that's going to be 3-0 Old Westbury here early. The service back in. Deeply pushed in there. Well passed by Lima. A pretty ball pushed over by the Knights. It'll be reset for Old West. See what they do with it. Setter is not out. The setter will actually take a swing over. That's going to hit straight off the tape and back down for an Old West point. So Paige Herbert on the ball pushed over for Old Westbury. That gets trickled on by the Knights. Can't quite get it over. Gomez on the service once again. Deep pass for the Knights. A pretty dump by Boyce. That's going to fall down straight off of Herbert's arms into the floorboards for a point. Juliana Simone will step to the line for the service. Right on top of the Mount watermark. Far left of your screen. Service driven in low. Scala gets an opportunity. She pushes one straight over. All 10 fingers on that ball. Straight into the floorboards. She's not having any of it. I'll point for the Knights, 2-4. So the Mount, second in the Skyline for total blocks. Obviously, padding their stats a little bit as Simone gets herself a service ace straight off of the libero's hands. That's going to be 3-4 Knights. They're catching up. Mount second in the Skyline for total blocks. Of course, padding a lot more blocks into that total tonight. Getting themselves rolling early here. Very, very defensive squad. Low pass for Old West. Blocked by the Knights. Reset by Old West. Push off for Herbert. She fires one in. That's going to be reset for the Knights. Right down Broadway for Descala. She tips one over the tower. She's going to put one in into the floorboards. We're all knotted up at 4. Coach on Andreas Stern getting his girls back into shape here. Making sure they're all set. Simone with a heavy one straight into the back row. That's going to be reset for the Knights. Push straight back over by the Knights. The Panthers will get a chance. Mazer with a heavy swing. Gets blocked straight down. The Scala on an absolute heater. 5-4 Knights. The wall of the Mount cannot be stopped here early in set number 2. Simone will get herself another opportunity off the back line. She spins the ball. She gets set. Pushes on well, deep in. Almost touched by Old West. They decide to let it out. Velez thought about it, and she read it. So that's going to be 5-5. Mazer will step to the line for the service. Some good juju or something being wished upon by the bench of Old West, them all waving their fingers in the air. Serves dipped straight in. An awkward ball. Warmouth gets a swing. Be reset by the Knights. It's going to get blocked straight down. That's going to be a point for the Knights. Velez with a swing straight into the block of the Mount. So hop, skip, and a jump, and another middle blocker subbed in here. Lavelle on the line. Lima with the service. A pretty jump serve into the back. That's going to push straight over and out of play. So I believe a service ace for Aaron Lima. A smooth jump serve from the far left end of the court. Top left of your screen. In the all-blue getup as usual, and her ribbons to boot. She'll serve again. Another one sidewinding in towards the Old West side. Velez gets a swing. She's going to roll on straight down. A guttural scream from Velez as Gomez drops one in the bucket for her. I think it was someone entirely. No, never mind. That was the right setter. I apologize. A service deep into the half of the Knights. Chance for Lavelle to get a swing. She'll put one in. Panthers reset. Another one blocked by the Knights. A heavy swing from Williams gets blocked. We'll reset again. Free ball pushed in for the Panthers. See what to do with this one. Velez with another swing. Gets deflected. Can't quite get up. Lima's outstretched arms can't quite put that one up in the air. 7-7, Old Westbury. Kaplan took a heavy swing. That got deflected. Velez took a swing. That fell down. So Lopez will go to the line again for the service. A line drive hits the tape. That's going to fall in for service ace. An unlucky break for the Knights here. They're going to lose the lead. So last set, only 2 lead changes, 6 total tie scores. So already we're seeing more of that again in this second set. A deep serve driven in, just hardly out of bounds. Gets called in bounds, actually. So the initial linesman said it was out. The net judge said it was in, and the other judges agree with him. So that's some more celebration for the Old West. Panthers 97, Lopez to serve once again. Williams with a swing and a kill right down Broadway. She finds her way through the block. 8-9 Knights. A slew of substitutions to be made. Seymour and Pollock subbing in here, and Kenny also subbing in. Pollock with a monstrous Satsuma load. 19 digs in her last match against St. Joe's Long Island. So an unbelievable day for the young defensive specialist. She will take the service for the white and blue. Sent straight into the back, an awkward ball for Panthers. Herbert takes one. A back row swing from Simone, driven in deep. That's also passed up. See what the Panthers do here. Ball hammered over the top by Lopez. That's going to fall out. That's going to be a tie game. 9-9 is the score as we have it. Pollock will get to serve again as some consistent putback play by the Knights keeps us level here early. Ball dropped in by Pollock. A pretty set down Broadway. Kaplan can't quite get it through. Williams to take a swing. She takes a monstrous one. That one gets deflected. Called for a net violation, I think. I don't know what just got called, but something got called on Old West. So that's 10-9 Knights with the lead. Pollock's serve gets winded straight into the nylon there under the tape. That's going to be 10-10. We're all knotted up. Paige Herbert, first year from Baldwin, New York, will step to the line for the service in her bright pink shoes. So pink and blue, a common theme here amongst Old West. I do appreciate the basketball shoes. She's going to fire one straight into the nylon. That's going to be a point for the Knights. So as I lull on about basketball shoes, Herbert fires a hard overhead swing straight into the net. That's going to give Janiyah Williams a service. Your top left, my far left. And the galloping swing underway here. A line drive into the back row of the Panthers. A high set. Mazer drops one into the box. A back row swing from Williams. An attempted block, and Lavelle pushes one straight back over. She says, none of that, I'm not having it. 12-10 Knights, an exciting one here as we are moving on towards the midpoint of the set. 23rd point to be played in just a moment here. The duo of Brooke Lavelle and Ava Descala just piling on the blocks here as we move into the late half of the second set. Wow. Williams with a heavy swing straight into the tape. That's going to be a point for Old Westbury, though the Knights still hold a 12-11 advantage. Stephanie Velez will step up to the line for the service. Hardline drive, pushing to the back. Pollock with a wonderful pass. Lavelle takes a swing. That one's going to fall over the tape for a kill. Seymour with a wonderful overhead set to that opposite side there. Lavelle slides just into place, takes a swing, gets the kill. Lavelle to take a service. Not often she gets to do it. Almost gets a service ace. Mazer with a heavy swing. Ball trickles down into the Knights side there, though the block was home, just didn't quite seal it. So that should be 12-13, Mount St. Mary College. Sanchez to check in again. She has proven troublesome so far for the Knights. Got quite a few serves in last time. Passed wonderfully by the Knights, right down the middle. Descala pushes one over for another kill. They can't stop her. I won't stop her. 14-12. Who's going to put an end to Descala's reign of terror in the middle of the court? Wormuth checks back in for Pollock. She'll get some more playing time. Not a frequent flyer of this team. Though in 2023, she had a breakout year where she finished the season with 23 blocks and 58 kills. Last year, she didn't play too much. This year, ditto, though exciting stuff to see her playing almost every swing of tonight's matchup. So some commiserating between Old West's side and the net judge. Seymour to take the service from the bottom left of your screen. A floater into the back. An awkward pass for Panthers. Mazer with a heavy swing. That one's going to fall straight off of Kenny's arms. That's going to be a kill for the Panthers. 14-13 the score here for your Knights. Boyce checking in for Seymour. So that'll leave one back row setter, and that's going to leave 3 front row hitters. So there's going to be nothing but offense coming up from the Knights here soon. Gomez with a serve well into the back. Wormuth is going to get a chance to swing. That one's going to get pushed straight back over. Descala pushes one over just to get it over. A back set to Mazer. She's going to take a heavy swing. That one's going to fall in. That's going to knot us up at 14. A monstrous swing off that left side there. She was left unchecked, and she took every ounce of that opportunity to tie this game up. No matter how many times the Knights pull ahead, Mazer not letting her girls die, pulling them into this matchup numerous times as Gomez loops one in here. Wonderful pass. Right down Broadway goes Simone. That one gets pushed up. A free ball to get pushed over by the Panthers. See what the Knights do with this one. Simone with another chance. She swings. That gets deflected. That's back up. An awkward swing up the middle. That's going to deflect straight off the Scala's arms. That's going to fall for a point. Nicole Zugnoni with another kill. Gets herself going up the middle. Gomez with yet another service. The left-handed swing. An awkward one that pushes over the net. Finds its way to Boyce and her arms. Ball pushed around. Mazer with another swing and a huge block. That's one's going to fall straight out of bounds. Wormuth and Descala there all the way. Mazer just too powerful. That ball falls out. Coach Kellum takes the timeout. 16-14 Old West is your score at the 60-second break mark. Wow, an unbelievable one here. Lots of violent swings, a whole lot of scoring. So if you don't enjoy volleyball, then I don't know what to tell you. So the Knights circling around the bottom of the table, though not everyone has played the same amount of games as each other in the Skyline. The Knights number 9 in the conference. The Old Westbury Panthers at 6th. So technically, as it stands, Westbury's in the playoffs. The Knights are not. The Knights should catch them, though, if they beat Old West. I was trying to think of the proper word. I was going to say something profound, though I could not find it. But if this matchup ends in a Knights win, they should jump them in the standings. The Knights would be in a playoff position. The Knights did find themselves in the playoffs last year. Lost one to SGLI on the road. So some improvements from last year. I believe they got swept, if not lost 3-1 in a not-so-close matchup in the playoffs. This year, they took that same team to 5 sets. If my mental math does not prevail, then I apologize to anyone watching the broadcast, post-mortem or in action. So we'll get underway again. Gomez with the service. Looping ball in. Lima with a clean pass. Right down Broadway for Ava Descala. She pushes one over. Another one from Mazer. She takes a heavy swing straight into the net. That's going to be a point for the Knights. 15-16. We're catching up. Simone with the service. She always has a heavy arm from the back line there. Old West hiding their setter behind the back line since she was just the service haver. So a free ball pushed over. See what the Knights do from here. We'll bake a cake from scratch. A forward one push out to Williams. She gets a chance. She's unmarked. That's going to knot us up at 16. A monstrous swing from downtown. A wonderfully set ball by Boyce. That one's going to find itself to Williams. I thought we were not at 16. The scoreboard hasn't changed, so 15-16 is your current score. Simone with a low arcing service. Gomez with a set straight over the top. Gets pushed straight back over by Descala. She's having none of it. Zignoni tried her. She said not a chance. 16-16 is your score now. So I have it right 1 point later. Simone with another service. The Knights all offense here. 17-16. Okay, so I was right before. So the Knights will get a free ball here. Setter is out. Williams will take a swing. Another heavy one. That's one that's going to go almost into the roof. A free ball to get pushed over by the Panthers. See what the Knights do with this one. Setter's out again. Another swing from Williams. Another hard one. Oh, my dear Lord. Zignoni with a monstrous kill block. Puts it straight back down on the floorboards. That's going to tie us up at 17 apiece. A vicious swing from Williams gets stuffed all the way. 100%. Straight back into the Knights' half. So that's going to put Mazer on the line. A line drive well to the back. Boyce gets an awkward one up. That's going to be a free ball for the Panthers. See what they do with this. An awkward one push up to Herbert. She's just going to have to get it over. The setter is out for the Knights. A back row swing from Simone. Rolls one in well deep. Velez gets one over the top. Dug up by the Knights. Push back over. Would have been out of bounds, but the Panthers choose to play it. Herbert gets a chance. She swings. Unbelievable dig by the Knights. That's going to stay in. That's going to get pushed over for a free ball. See what the Panthers do with this one. Another one blocked by the Knights. Velez with a swing. That's going to hit the tape, and that's going to be a point for the Knights. 18-17. An unbelievable rally. Numerous blocks, numerous digs. A crazy, crazy point there. So Lavelle will check back in for Descala. Often Descala and Lavelle, a blocking duo, or tandem, as many like to say, though tonight, Warmouth and Lavelle being a tandem. Howard will take a swing. She's going to pull one straight into the net. 19-17 Knights. They're inching towards 20. Not Howard, Herbert. I apologize. Old West takes a timeout. The Knights are leading at the timeout. We're going to take a little bit of break here. I'll be back in just a moment. So we'll resume in just a moment here. The Panthers taking themselves just the full amount of time they can to talk to everyone. Coach Stern having a one-on-one conversation with his setter Gomez, making sure she's on the right page. Of course, Your hands on the court has to be the calmest out of all of them. Your headers can get a little bit unhinged. That's okay to let happen because their job is to swing as hard as they can, though you cannot let your hands or your setter get out of sorts. So top left your screen, Aaron Lima will resume us with a service here. Knights leading 19-17. A clean jump serve, well into the back, passed up well. Les with a swing, block straight down. That's going to be in for a point. Lavelle and Warmeth there all the way. They read it. That's going to be a 20-17 advantage for the Knights. So Velez getting tried on that opposite side once again. The monstrous block of the Knights getting home once again. Lima with a looping serve into the back there. Mazer out of the play. Velez gets a chance. She's going to push over a free ball. That's going to be straight out of bounds. 21-17 Knights. So the Panthers getting a little bit flustered here as we resume play. They're down 4. They'll have to try and find themselves out of this hole as an immediate timeout is followed up with the Panthers. So we're going to take another timeout. I won't quite step away this time because of the succession of said timeouts. So you're not going to get me for a little bit in the booth, but the Lady Knights do have a tri-match this weekend against Ramapo and Hunter College. And Old West has themselves a gauntlet because they play today, and they have to go back home to Old West, and they have to play Medgar Evers tomorrow. So they'll be playing a lot of sets of volleyball in today and tomorrow, in the next 24 hours, I should say. The Knights will get a bit of a break. They'll play a whole lot of sets in one day on Saturday. So we'll see how they fare. Those are both non-conference matchups for the Knights tomorrow. Same thing for Old West tomorrow. I apologize. Over the weekend, non-conference matchups for the Knights. I'm getting caught up in my own words. Just trying to find things to fill dead space. Of course, Old West following a 3-1 win over York College. That was also a non-conference. They've only won one conference game this year. It was their first game of the year against Yeshiva. They've lost a conference matchup to Manhattanville, I believe it was. Nevertheless, we're back into it. Timeout should end in just a second here. The clock is counting down. Got 5 seconds left. Have to wait for a signal from the referees to allow Lima to serve. So she'll get us back underway. Jump serve in towards the back row. Herbert drops one in, blocked straight down by Lavelle. That's going to be a point for the Knights. Two-hand touch called on the half of the Panthers. A huge block from Lavelle nonetheless. She gets all 10 fingers over the tape and hammers one home. Another jump serve from Lima. Heavy jump serve, pushed back through by the Panthers. Herbert gets blocked again. Williams Lavelle there all the way. Williams handing a little emote towards her bench. Her bench reciprocating. 23-17 is the score. Inching that much closer to a 2-set lead is the Knights. A line drive into the back, awkward for the Panthers. Free ball's going to get pushed over here. See what the Knights do with it. Will bake a cake from scratch. Unbelievable shoot ball and a kill! Almost falling into the net. Boyce gets a ball shot out as far as she can go. Her hands take her all the way to the other antenna. Williams to find it. Hammers one into the empty court, and it's 24-17, set point. A service ace on the back, and that's 25-17. The Knights take a 2-0 lead in this massive conference matchup, and we're going to be up as we go into a break here. So we'll switch sides. I'll take a breather, and you won't have to listen to me for a few minutes. So we'll be back after this. So we're back with about 50 seconds left in the timeout. Both sides taking their times to conversate and commiserate just a tad bit. Tonight, Williams often flying with 7 kills that set, or so far in this game. Stephanie Mazer leading the both sides with 8 kills. So she is trying her darned hardest to will her girls into a victory. The Knights off and rolling, though. 4 kills for Brooke Lavelle and Juliana Simone, respectively. Ava Descala with 5. So the Knights hammering home as many as they get. Of course, I almost fell out of my chair at that last point there. Aubriana Boyce almost fell into the net on a shanked pass. Shot the ball as far as her arms could allow into an open space. Williams found it on the antenna and put a dent in the floorboards. So we're swapping sides. I'm calmed down. White and blue on your right. Green and black on your left. Many of the same faces for both sides here. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, every senior has featured in tonight's matchup. I will say with confidence, yes. So every senior on the roster here has featured in tonight's matchup for senior night. A few new faces will check in for the Knights. Dylan and Seymour and Kenny all in. One setter in the back row in the service spot, usually where you start your squad. The Old West Panthers will start with the service, so the Knights will hide their setter in the back row. She's waving some fingers at her girls. Something will come out of the training grounds here. Katia Gomez to serve for Panthers, and we're partying to set the rate. Clean pass up for Seymour, see what she comes up with. Wormuth with a heavy swing, gets deflected. Gomez with another one. Ball deflected up. A back row swing from Williams. Wormuth gets one down. She gets herself a block over the net. That's going to be a point for the Knights, and they're going to start the set up 1-0. So Zagnoni took herself a swing. Knights dug it up, and we got ourselves a 1-0 lead. Simone, top right of your screen with the service. Falls into the tape. That's going to be 1-1. Old Westbury and Knights knot it all up. Stephanie Mazer stepping up to the line, the leading kill haver of the Panthers, and a strong arm at the service line. Clean pass for the Knights. Swing for Dylan. Side winds one in. An awkward set for Gomez. She gets one over. It's going to be free ball for the Knights. See what they do with this. Dylan gets a chance to swing. She takes a heavy one. Gets dug up by the Panthers. Herbert to swing. She gets one to deflect through, and that's going to be a kill. That's going to be a point for the Old West Panthers. Paige Herbert, the first year from Baldwin, gets herself a kill. Heavy swing there. So Mazer's back on the line. She'll take the serve. Line drive into the back line there. Gets dug up. Swing from Williams. She takes a vicious swing at that. That's going to be a free ball for the Knights. See what they do for this. They'll make one up on the fly. Williams gets another swing. That one's dug up by the Panthers as well. There's going to be another free ball. An attempted swing. That's going to be off the antenna. Fingers are twirling. That is a point for the Knights. So Velez tried to get a sneaky one over the net there while the Knights were expecting a free ball, of course. That's always a dangerous game to play. Once you hit the antenna, that is immediately a point for the other squad. That's why you see the flags and fingers getting spun in circular motions like a home run was hit. Taryn Lima with the jump serve. Ball's in here, an awkward pass for the Panthers. A back row swing from Mazer. Out of bounds, and a point for the Knights. They find themselves with a 3-2 lead. So that last set, 8 tie scores, 5 lead changes. Already seeing much of the same here. Been a tightly contested game, though the Knights have come out 2-0 after the dust has settled so far on the game so far. Mazer with another back row swing. That one's going to loop in here. Setter is out. Seymour took that receive. Dylan with a swing. She's going to loop one in. That's going to knock out the setter of Old West as well. Herbert tries to push one over. The Knights are going to push it back up. No two-hand is called. Williams gets one over. That's going to be free ball for the Knights. See what they do with this. Straight down Broadway for Lavelle. That's going to deflect off of Gomez. That's the point. Knights up 4-2. Lavelle with a vicious swing down Broadway. She's going to take one straight up the street into the flashing lights. We're going to be up 4-2. Lima with another service, top right of your screen, all blue jersey. Jump serve here, falling in. That's a wild pass. And errant one falls down. A little bit of dance moves from the Knights. That's going to give us a 5-2 advantage. So early on in this set, the Knights finding themselves out and running, still trying and take this baton and go clear of the Panthers. Another awkward pass. That gets pushed up. Herbert with another swing. She takes one. That one's going to get pushed up. That's going to fall just under the net. That's going to be a point for the Panthers. An unlucky one for Seymour. She was expecting one to hit the net. Falls straight under the net. Coppola checks in. The 6-foot-tall middle blocker checks in for the Panthers. Lopez with a service gets shot straight up. Setter's out. Williams will take a swing. She'll drop one in. Setter's out for the Panthers. That one's going to push over for a free ball. Another one for Lavelle. She gets a chance. That one gets pushed back up. Another one for Lavelle. She's going to push it over. That's going to be just out of bounds. So all sorts of action here. 4-5 is your score line. Lopez will go back to the line for the service. Old West not dying just yet, trying to get themselves back into this matchup. The line drive is pushed straight in. Seymour with the service, or with the set. High 1-2. Williams, she points to the floor. She knew it all the way. So that side winding left arm swing finds itself down the line once again. And I was explaining to a friend why it's odd that you have an outside hitter who's left-handed, because you're swinging across your body that opens up the line shot, but of course that makes it a little bit more difficult timing-wise. So Velez takes a swing. That one's going to get deflected straight up. Williams get another swing. That one's going to deflect straight off of Lopez. Almost off the glass in the back of the gym. That's going to be another point for the Knights. 7-4 is your score. So, of course, as a left-hander, obviously you want to play on the opposite side because that just makes it the quickest so you can get your hands there. And that's going to be a service ace for Sienna Pollock. Finds one, no touch, into the back line there. Line judge is all the way on the call. So that's going to be 8-4 Knights as Pollock will resume us. One loops in there. Gomez with the set. Herbert pushes one just a little bit far over the block. She went for cross shot there, rolled it just a bit too heavily. That's going to be a 9-4 advantage and a timeout. So Old West down 5. Coach Stern decides to take a break. He'll talk to his girls. Kellum will try and keep her girls off and rolling here. So the Knights are having some fun. And you will get me back in just a moment. So the timeout hitting the 20-second mark. I will tune back in here with all of you folks watching at home. The Knights holding on to a 9-4 advantage, trying to push off as far as they can and not draw a flag. Old West, of course, has been extremely competitive through 2 sets so far. Both sets ending, I believe, 20-25. I think the same scores in both sets. So Pollock will resume us here. Sidewinder falls in deep for the Panthers. Velez will take a swing. She'll push one straight through. That's going to fall into the bleachers, into a fan's hands. That's going to be a kill for Velez, and that's going to lead to Stephanie Samolde. Samuelade, there we go. That's a great name, damn. Samuelade checking in here. Of course, I had to check the pronunciation sheet. That's one of the only players they gave me. So the junior from Vacaville, California pushes one in. The Knights get a chance. That one gets straight blocked down. That's going to fall down for a point. So 9-6 is your score line. Samuelade will go back to the line for the service, getting some pointers from the coach. A gorgeous stump from Seymour gets pushed around. It's going to be a free ball. See what the Knights do with this one. They'll bake a cake from scratch. Far one pushed out to Williams. She takes a monstrous swing. That's going to get deflected and out. The girls get fired up. 10-6 is the score. Some changes are going to be made. That'll send Williams to the line for the service. So, of course, if I can correct myself really quick, Andrea Stern is the person in all black on the left side of the screen. I had her completely confused with the assistant coach, Chris Denetti. I don't know how that happened. Just that the assistant coach was calling the timeouts, so I don't know. I don't assume much, but it seems to be I was fully mistaken. Anywho, a ball gets pushed straight out of bounds. 10-7 is the score. Paige Herbert will step up to the line for the service. She hits a heavy one to the back row. That gets dropped just a tad bit. An awkward swing, pushed back over, a free ball for the Panthers. Mazer with a heavy swing, that gets dug. That's going to fall straight back over. That's going to be a point. Hit the antenna. So clip the antenna, fell out of bounds. It's going to be a point for Old West either way. 10-8 is your score. Herbert back to the line. Mazer continuing her terror on the front lines, though much of her efforts proving futile as she is down 2-0. And the set total. So Herbert with another one to the back line. Gets picked up, an awkward one. Simone will take a swing. She drops one into the back. Herbert with a diving effort. Lavelle pushes one straight back down. That's not going to do. And Coppola's effort gets pushed into the net. That's going to be just under for a point. Some substitutions to be made here. So Eva Robles up to the line for the service. So 2 defensive specialists, an outside hitter, and 2 hitters and a setter is the setup for your Knights. Mazer with a heavy swing. That one's going to get pushed straight back down onto the floor. 11-9 is your score. Mazer with another vicious swing off that left side. Or outside, of course, as the pros call it. Been an unbelievable force over there. As Sanchez, we're going to hand it the rock once again. Was a troublesome serve to deal with before. See if it's ditto now. Service. Pushed in here, passed up, an awkward one. A high set, falls down. Simone pushes it over. That's going to be a point for the Knights. They get themselves straight out of this rotation. They'll get to reset. So Dylan and Sophia Fredericks checking in here. Fredericks has not featured in this match just yet. Fredericks subbing in for the service. She will find herself as a back row setter, so that's going to be 3 hitters up front for the Knights. All offense here as we get 12-9. Kaplan will deploy some tactics and will try to get ahead as far as we can. Fredericks with the service. Falls straight into the net. That's going to be a point for Old West. The service error for the Knights. So some commiserating. Katia Gomez will come in for the Panthers. Panthers into the presumed strongest rotation, as this is what they started the game in, or started the set in. Fredericks with the set out to Simone. She takes a heavy swing. That one's going to get deflected. Gomez with the set. Herbert takes a swing. That one's going to get bounced around. That's going to be a kill. 12-11 is your score line. The Panthers are catching up. Left-handed serve, pushed over the net, passed well. Fredericks will have a chance at it. Simone takes a heavy swing. That one's going to go over. That's going to be a chance for the Panthers. Mazer will take a swing. That one's going to get passed again. Fredericks with another set. Dylan gets a chance. She pushes it over. That's going to fall down for a kill. So Fredericks puts one over her head. Dylan off the opposite side pushes one over. She gets a point. That's going to be 13-11. Simone will step up to the line for the service. A heavy right arm from the number 10. The team's leading kill haver. So that's pushed in deep. That's pushed almost to the roof. Setter is out. A back row swing will come out from the Panthers. An awkward pass. A free ball pushover. See what the Panthers do with this. So set to Velez. She takes a swing straight across the court. That one's going to be pushed straight over Dylan's head. That's going to be down for a point. So the Panthers getting fired up here late into the set. The 26th point to be served away here. Mazer gets a chance to take a serve. Of course, not optimal to have your best hitter stuck in the back line, though. The back row swing never out of the picture. So a laser beam shot into the back. Lima makes the read. That falls straight past her head. That's going to be a point for the Knights. So those send Lima to the line. Some confusion on subs, I think, for the Knights. I don't know. Anywho, Lima with the service. Pushes one hard to the back corner there, just slightly out of bounds. That's going to inch this game closer to a tie. Lopez will get a chance to serve, and we'll do it all over again. So a front row setter, not always optimal. Only 2 attackers available for the Knights, that being Lavelle and Dillon. Williams off the back row, rolls one over for a kill, 15-13. So a change of personnel here. Seymour comes in for Fredericks. She'll be a front row setter. Pollock in for Dillon. Dillon meant to be back row. She will not have to deal with serve receive. Pollock will get to serve. Kinney in as a offensive sub. She's been playing on the offensive half. Lima subbing in for serve receive. A deep service just out of bounds. The Panthers read it all the way. So the back row swing of Simone will be available for Seymour, and the front row swings of Williams and Lavelle will be available for Seymour. The main setter, Gomez, being subbed out here. Samalade fires away. Lavelle pushes one over with the left hand, and that's going to fall home for a kill. Right down Broad Street. We find ourselves 16-14. Williams with the service. Samulade will be the setter. She punches the back row set to the wrong spot. Seymour will get a chance to reset to Simone. She fires one straight to the block. Right down the line. That's going to be 17-14 Knights. A heavy swing right down that hard angle there. Simone finds herself yet another kill in this tightly contested matchup. Williams to the service, your bottom right. A line drive to the back. That's going to not hit the floor. Hit the floor. There we are. So that's going to be no-touch service ace for Janiyah Williams, the senior, having herself one heck of a night on senior night. 18-14 is your scoring line. 3 back row receivers and a hidden setter for the Panthers. They push one up to an awkward spot. Samulade gets one up. That one gets trickled around. Cappola's going to get herself a kill, so she gets one over. It gets deflected straight down by the Knights, gets pushed around, falls under the net. So Herbert will get herself a service on the back row here. The younger Samulade still in the match as the setter. Don't quite know what decision was made for the Panthers there, but a personnel change nonetheless. So setter's out. Williams with a heavy back row swing straight off of Herbert's arms. 19-15, another kill for Williams. Catch her if you can, you won't. The game's leading kill haver. She is out of control. Robles will check in to serve it away for us. So still 2 front row hitters, though the tallest possible ones you can have out there, Warmouth and Simone. Warmouth there, fit for the block. It's going to fall straight down. She psychs out Samulade. 20-15 is your score. The Knights inching that much closer to a game set point. Ball is looped in here, an awkward pass for Samulade. She bumps it up. Herbert's going to get a back row swing. She pushes one hard to the back. Knock her on again. Simone will get a swing. She pushes one straight into the net. Didn't quite get the approach right, so that's going to be a point for the Panthers. Lavelle will check in here for Robles, and we will get ourselves substitution. Sanchez in to serve away for the Panthers. Ball punch to the back. That's a strange pass. That gets put in a weird spot. That gets pushed straight back over by Shania McAllister. She gets herself a point. She looks as nonchalant as it gets, so she inches her side 17-20, just a little bit closer to giving us a tie. The passing arms of the mount ready to go. They get themselves the ball up. Seymour bumps one out wide to Simone. She takes one over the top. Samuelade punches one up to Mazer. She pushes one over. Simone gets a swing. She puts one home. Dents the floorboard. She gets herself an unmarked swing. She's going to take that all day, every day. Dylan checks in for Pollock. Will get the best possible rotation for Kellum's side. A back row setter with 3 hitters up front. The tallest possible lineup you could have in here. Up front on the net. The 6-foot tall Kaplan not there to counteract that. Samuelade will push one over for Mazer. Behind Mazer, she pushes one straight to the block. An impressive swing. She takes a little bit off of the hit. So Samuelade gets her second or third assist of the match. Mazer gets probably her 20th kill of the match. I don't even know. She's been out of control. So Gomez will check back in here. She'll get herself a service, and then she will be back row setting for 3 attackers up front of Old West. So they'll try their darned hardest to catch up to the Knights if they can. So as we inch closer to this set or match point, you will find a lot of offense, some commiserating with the scoring table and the referees, a whole lot of substitutions. So you got to make sure you get them right. Just got to double check. Of course, never want to have the wrong people on the court because that does cause a huge problem for rotational tracking for your referees. So Gomez to serve, the left-handed swing, loops over the net. A deep one, read all the way by the Knights. That's going to fall out of bounds, 22-18. Simone into the service line. She'll get to take a swing. Sophia Fredericks checks in. A timeout is called by Old West, 22-18, to ice the server just a little bit here. Of course, Simone, a very strong server. So we'll get 60 seconds to take a little bit of a break here. So some very exciting, high-flying action we've gotten to see through a little over 60 minutes of volleyball action. Next time you'll see me will be 11 a.m. on a weekend. Volleyball versus Farmingdale State, the 18th of October. So that is a Saturday from this week. So next Saturday, not this one, next Saturday, you'll see me back in the booth again. You'll have to hear my voice again. The girls will be taking on Farmingdale in a conference clash, try to inch themselves closer into a playoff position. So the Panthers milking as much time as they can on this timeout. Simone on an island over there, far right of your screen. She'll serve this ball once she's given the go-ahead. Wouldn't be shocked if she was given the green light to let this one rip. She pushes one in. That dips down. Gomez with a nice set. Velez with a swing. That one gets pushed around. That's going to be a point immediately. So the ice kicker effect works out for Old West just a little bit. They find themselves a point. 22-19 is your score. Mazer is going to get stuck on the back row here, though. So the Panthers will have to try and find themselves an answer, as they're going to have to dig themselves out of a deep, deep hole. They're going to have to be shooting a lot of back row sets. Gomez will have to try and dig deep and find herself some nice spots. So this is passed up. Fredericks gets a back set to Dylan. She finds one over the net. That's going to get pushed around. Herbert gets one. A huge block on the outside. Dylan Warmott there all the way. I'm seeing a 4. So 4 touches, I believe, were called on the Panthers, though I thought there was a block on the play. So it is 23-19 nonetheless. Lima with the service, far right of your screen. A deep ball is pushed well over the back line. 23-20 is your score line. It only gets closer. Coppola checks in, so all 6 feet of her will be on the tape for the Knights to deal with. Lopez at the line to serve. The bright white jersey on the left side of your screen. She drops one in short. That's an awkward one. That's going to get pushed around for free ball. See what the Panthers do with this. Herbert takes a huge swing. That's going to trickle down. That's going to be a point. A guttural scream from her as she is freaking out. 23-21, a huge point for them. The Panthers are fired up on the away side. The Knights take a timeout. So Skylar Kellum and crew will try and reconvene here, make sure they don't lose track of this one. Of course, not even a week ago, they were up 2-0 against the Long Island Hawks. I think that's what they are. And they ended up losing set 3-2. So that is a reverse sweep, what they call it in the business. Of course, I don't want to enact any bad juju. I don't want any foul words or shade to be sent towards their side, of course. I'm just playing it as it is. So 2 points away is the Knights from a game winner. It'll be huge, huge W for these girls who are so hungry to find themselves back in the playoffs. An exciting senior side to watch as they've eaten very well tonight. A healthy heaping of home cooking for the home crowd. A little less than 100 people here in attendance, and an entertaining game nonetheless. So the green and black will find themselves here reconvening. Sophia Lopez will find herself on the line for the service. So she'll loop one into the back. Clean pass from the Knights. Fredericks with a great set. Williams drops one in, an awkward one for the Panthers. That's going to fall down. That's going to be game point for the Knights, 24-21. So some substitutions to be had. Seymour getting thrown in here for Fredericks. She will serve, I believe. My apologies. Pollock will serve. I had the rotation all wrong in my head. So Pollock subs in for Dylan. She will serve. Dylan, of course, not burdened with serving or receiving duties. Pollock to get the ball away. That one's going to fall in. Clean one for Herbert. She'll take a swing. That gets blocked. That's out of bounds. So 24-22. Her and Gomez get excited. Some more substitutions to be had. Samulade coming in, I believe, for the service. So she'll find herself on the line. The junior to keep cool on the service line to keep this match alive. The Knights only need a ball to go one time, go their way one time. There we go, for the game. A high looping one's found. Williams takes one. That's going to deflect. That's going to be a point. Williams with an unbelievable performance in her senior year. On senior night, Williams runs rampant. So 25-22, your final score in set number 3 here. 1-2-3-0 for the Knights as they take the game. And all 3 points, as they'll say in the soccer business. So a W for the Knights. They should jump the standings handsomely. And that'll be a Skyline W for your Mount St. Mary College Lady Knights. So you'll find me back in the booth in 10 days. I've been Bob Houck. Thank you so much for making me a part of your Wednesday evening here. Of course, it doesn't affect it in a gym, but it is a cool October night, so happy spooky season, as they say. And I'll catch you on the flip side. God bless.